So today I wanted to talk about the importance of making choices and setting intentions. And it's a well-known kind of platitude in spirituality that there's this fine dance between intention and surrender, which to me actually aren't different things, because when you're really surrendered, right, the impulse of intention flows through you and you're inspired to create intentions. But see, if we don't, if we have this idea that being surrendered means only being the passenger consciousness, only being the observer, which is only one of the qualities of the soul, then we might be blocking a movement of life force into our lives that wants to express. And there's this epidemic right now that a lot of people don't feel like being here because they don't see a point. Maybe they've seen something spiritually, like there's not really any value in anything or any in the external world, but still they're not enlivened by spirit, right? Because they're still in autopilot. They're still in their default mode network. They're still letting the emotions of the autopilot conditioning, like those emotions are what's radiating into their life. So there's no space for spirit to pour into the being and enliven them. So making choices, right? It wakes up the body's ability, or the body-mind's ability, the chakras' ability to allow in spirit. Because if you are just on autopilot in your default mode network, if you're just observing your reactions, right? You're back here observing your mind, observing your reactions, observing what's happening in life. There's no part of your true essence that's actually expressing into the world. And it's that expression, it's that feeling of bringing spirit to earth, which is what Kundalini awakening really is. Kundalini awakening is not going up and out, it's bringing God to planet Earth. But so many empathic people and so many sensitive people don't feel like they want to be here. And that's because they have not yet discovered their ability to create. Because if you can create the world that you want to live in, then you will express here. If you create the world that you want to live in by radiating frequencies, by feeling the signature of your heart and radiating it into your life, and interacting with people in your life from the heart, and basically singing the song of your soul into reality, then all of those autopilot emotions will dissolve, because what's taking their place is the energy of the soul. So making decisions, right? If you don't really feel like there's any point anymore, well, try this. Try making more decisions. Try setting intentions, having a little bit of ritual in your life, right? That could look like lighting candles in the morning and just praying for the peace of all beings. That could look like having an epic meditation where you're getting a taste of your future life, right? Where you're creating, when you're in creation mode, when you're in other dimensions, right? Discerning a higher potential for yourself. Play music when you brush your teeth. Play music when you make yourself breakfast. Introduce newness into your life, because if death is autopilot, if death is the default mode network, which is, the memorized thoughts and feelings that our body mind holds on to help us survive, then one of the antidotes to that is to introduce newness, right? Wear makeup if you don't usually wear makeup. Put on sunscreen if you usually forget to put on sunscreen. Walk a different path to your favorite restaurant if you usually walk the same path. Take your dog on a different route. Let your dog walk you, right? Let life express through you in a new way instead of remaining on a habitual hamster wheel. Because if we're on autopilot and on that habitual hamster wheel, our energy is locked, is siphoned into a wheel, right? You could call that the wheel of karma. That train track that just does the same thing every single day. And we have all these justifications. Well, I love that restaurant. That's why I go there every day. I love the food there. And if I'm not saying to stop eating at your favorite restaurant every day, But ask yourself, how can I introduce newness into my life? How can I change things up just a little bit to wake myself up out of autopilot, right? Because it's what makes us feel depressed is being in autopilot, is being in death. It's not making any choices. Making a commitment to like want to live this life. Like so many cultures, including the school that I went to, kind of like a mystery school that I attended, they taught us that being human is so incredibly special. And the word human, hu means light and man means manifestation. It's a manifestation of light. And we have the ability to experience our God nature in this physical world with our senses, with the ability to hug our loved ones, to taste food, to listen to music. And we have the gift of time where our thoughts don't immediately manifest, which is a good thing, because in the astral world, as soon as you think something, you're there and you're there and you're there. And so we get the opportunity to gently learn from our mismanagement of our energies, our mismanagement of our thoughts and feelings, of our perceptions. And so we should, I don't want to say should, but it's possible to feel extremely grateful for this opportunity to be human, right? That's another choice that you can make on a daily basis. Like, I choose to be consciously aware of the gift of being human. I can tell you from my own experience that because of my commitment to being in this world, I have experienced so many miracles, what people would call miracles that I now call normal, but certain versions of me that had addictive behaviors, that had extreme reactions, because of my choices to tune into love, to tune into joy, to memorize a frequency and radiate it, right? The frequency of celebration, the frequency of the love of God, the frequency of pure love, higher love, ecstatic love. Because I choose those things over and over and over and over and over and over again, those addictive selves are like a very distant memory that it's hard to believe that I even was that person. I was around a group of people recently and I heard them speaking about eating disorders. I was at an event and it occurred to me like, oh yeah, I actually had that at some point. I actually had that at some point, but it's such a distant memory now. And actually, several eating disorder therapists have contacted me asking me what I did to heal, because so many of their patients don't heal, unfortunately, which doesn't have to be the truth anymore. But the point is, I have committed myself to love, and that is self-love. Making choices is self-love. Choosing to feel my emotions without escape, right? Make a choice. I will stop avoiding myself. I know that if I go into scrolling mode, or if I go into, all of a sudden I want to online shop for 3 hours, or all of a sudden, I want to reach out to a person that I've known for a while is not good in my life, right? It's not a choice that's healthy for me. It's not a choice that's aligned with the future that I'm moving into. But I do it to avoid feeling lonely, right? Make a decision that to the best of your ability, you'll stop avoiding those feelings. Because when you stop avoiding your feelings, you become unfuckwithable. You become unattackable. You become unabusable. Because what attracts those teachers into your life is the energy inside of you vibrating that says, I'm a victim, I'm helpless, I can't handle the energy in this situation, I can't handle anything, there's no solutions, I'm trapped here forever, right? I can't feel lonely, that's too painful. Right? If you kind of spiritually grow up in a way and start to feel these things, then you won't attract mirrors that mirror back to you the energy that's inside of you. And remember also that, your vibration is not just your beliefs. Your vibration is your desires and your beliefs. what makes up your vibration is not only your karmic thinking, right? Your habitual autopilot thinking, what you inherited from humanity and from your ancestors. It's also the desire of your incarnation. So if I desired to be an awakened being in this lifetime, I will attract amplified teachers so that I don't miss the lesson, right? So make a decision, again, another decision, not to feel guilty about anything that has happened in your life, not to feel ashamed about who you are. May your New Year's resolution be to realize the design of your life, the design of your life and the perfection of it, and what it is meant to enhance within you and bring out of you and clear out of you and empty out of you, so that the soul can occupy the vehicle and shine its radiant light into the world. So to the extent that we have intense reactions and intense emotions about things, is the exact degree to which we get caught in the default mode network, right? The stronger the emotional impression, the harder the body mind tries to keep you in survival. So how do we loosen the grip of the default mode network? Well, again, you have to feel your emotions, because the reason why we continue to react intensely to things and therefore continue to create these impressions that our body mind avoids, because the ego is designed to avoid pain and go towards pleasure. If we don't feel our emotions, we're going to keep reacting intensely to things because we believe that we're a victim to life, instead of knowing that life is a gift that we have designed to enhance our gifts and to carve out the space for our gifts to shine. That change in perspective is everything. When things leave your life, right, especially in an awakening experience, when friends and relationships leave, let them go. Don't try to fix them. We avoid so hardcore the feeling of loneliness, aloneness, right? Which makes sense, because that's the original wound. It's the original wound of the psyche is the separation, the idea that we're separate from God. Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and then they realized they were naked, and then they were ashamed, right? Because all of a sudden they were self-aware that they were separate from God. They believed that they were separate from God when they became aware of the body. So if we can stop avoiding that wound of loneliness, and we realize that that feeling that we are avoiding is a message to change a belief, because we're not separate from life. We are life, and we designed this personal life to have a specific experience. And when you truly know that, when you truly contemplate that, when you truly understand that, and you know it beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? And how do you get there? You realize that when unfortunate events happen, whether it's divorce, whether it's someone leaving your life, whether it's not being able to tolerate a certain friend in your life anymore, and it's getting more and more unpleasant and more difficult to maintain, that's life saying, let it go. Just let it go. We're trying to do you a favor. Let it go. Realize that life is always doing you all these favors. Your job is merely to recognize that that is the design of life. Life is love. It is not neutral, it is not meaningless, and it is not chaos. It is incredibly ordered and intelligent, and it is the most unfathomable, unconditional love that you could ever imagine. And you don't have to imagine it once you start tuning into it. So when you start tuning into it deliberately, right, by making more choices, don't just put yourself to sleep unconsciously. Fall asleep radiating an energy. Fall asleep feeling grateful. Don't just wake up unconsciously and make a coffee and go to the bathroom. Stop and meditate. Make a choice. Tune into a feeling. When you're walking to lunge. When you're driving your car, don't just default into the default mode network. Tune into its frequency. Radiate your presence through your heart. Notice things that are enjoyable. Tune into the presence, the field of your presence, and feel its qualities. Make more choices. Make more choices and ask your soul, how can I make more choices? What are some choices I could start to make every single day to wake myself up, to wake up my dharma, right? I want to give the message to my soul, I'm awake, I'm cooperating, I'm here, let's live. So this is a message for anybody feeling, overwhelmed by the world, overwhelmed by the state of humanity. It's not, your real self doesn't feel overwhelmed. Your real self is your God self, your source self, your soul self. And your real self is really excited to be here. And you can start to access that excitement by making more choices, by being more intentional, by realizing when you're slipping into that default mode network and snapping out of it. When your mind starts chattering about gossip or about defending yourself or about whatever it does, snap out of it. Make a choice, because that is the act of making a choice, is the exercising of free will, which is the expression of the soul. So I hope that this helps someone, and I hope you have a beautiful day.